Thanks for staying with us. So it's Thursday and we love talking about family, relationships and mothers and all works. Anyway, so today we're talking about a post about the veteran actor and filmmaker, Mr. Adebayo Salami, commonly known as Oga Bello, who said he has no plans to leave any property for his children as a polygamist. In an exclusive interview with the Nigerian Tribune, he said, and I quote, "By the time I met myself as a polygamist," he met himself, oh wow, "I've had it in mind that I don't want to leave any properties for my children." Recently, in a significant twist to the ongoing legal and family battle over the vast estate of the late governor of Oyo State, Dr. Christopher Alao-Akala, his first daughter, Mrs. Oluwatoyin Alao Adenrito, filed a suit at the Oyo State High Court in Ibadan seeking an order for a DNA test on 7 individuals claiming to be biological children of the deceased. Also, very recently, Olalekan Abiola, one of the children of the late business mogul and politician Chief M.K. Abiola, claimed that 66 of Abiola's children failed the DNA test in what has been described as a keenly contested battle over inheritance. Now, today on the show, we'd like to know where you stand on the issue of inheritance, how compulsory it is, especially because the Bible says that he that doesn't leave an inheritance for his children, that the Bible says that we must leave inheritance for our children's children. That's the instruction we're given in the Bible. So what are your thoughts on this? The examples shared, is inheritance truly worth the battle or the hassle? You can join the conversation 021-635-201, 090-241-63440. You can also send us your thoughts on YouTube and also on X. We'll be happy to read your views. When I was reading this earlier, I was telling myself that I actually had remember a conversation when my father, it was as if they said, he told me that I'm not leaving anything for anybody. That don't look at all these things. I'm not leaving anything for anybody. Go and go to your school, read your book and pass and make your own money. Don't for a second think that any of these things belongs to any child, that he is going to die with whatever it is he worked for. And I used to think, I mean, for me, it was a push for me that there's nothing waiting for me. In fact, even after he passed, there was no tussle because we didn't even care, because our own was to focus on what we have. So, especially when you hear somebody say that, especially Oga Bello saying that in the interview, but there's some families that see inheritance. Just suppose that with families who see inheritance as a crucial part of having ownership of your family structure and legacy. What do you think? Do you think it's still relevant today? Should we still make inheritance an important part of our modern day society? Who'd like to go first?
Okay, so like how when we talk about inheritance, everybody looks at it from the perspective of, oh, that your father is or your mother is leaving money for you to come and chop and then have a soft life, right? But that's not how I see inheritance, and that's not how I've been brought up to see inheritance. Why? Because you can only create generational wealth by leaving inheritance, right? And when I mean by leaving inheritance, in that sense, is that, for example, you own a family business, you own a business, or your family is known for something. There are people that they've been goldsmiths. Like growing up, because I come from a royal family, we had a goldsmith. So you find out that this goldsmith, after this goldsmith, the children take over. You find out that this craft has been has been in that family for generations. That's an inheritance. Do you understand? Because we need to have a mindset shift from what inheritance actually means. Because Nigerians, we say inheritance as they left plenty money, will now chop it, will now go and buy cars, have soft life. No. If you start looking at inheritance from building generational wealth, you look at the Roman empires, look at all the empires around the world, have they sustained the family name, that wherever you hear that name in the world for generations, it opens doors, it creates access. Most of those names might not have the finance backing it, but because they've been known for something, they have solid names. That's inheritance, that's generational wealth. So first of all, we need to take shift our mind from certain things. Yes, first.
Because before I get your introductory thoughts, because based on the reference we're using, so imagine an Oga Bello had built a Salami school for media, for acting, or theater arts, right? Now, that for him is a legacy that, even though he might not make a lot of money, but it is an institution that all his children can benefit from. So it's a legacy, it's an inheritance. It's not about having money that they're taking exchange shares. It's that you have something that forever and ever, the children know that this is my father created this academy for us who are in the media industry to excel in. Okay, let me come to you, Dan. What are your thoughts?
I think that, well, it depends on the parties that are also involved. Inheritance doesn't always mean that there should be tussle. But if your bed is not laid appropriately, that's how you will lie on it. Inheritance, to me, I also think that because my father, not even one fight for, we already don't know. So everybody is doing their bits, moving up, and at least what he didn't leave for us. Maybe if we decide we can leave for our children. But now, what are values and morals that you have left for these children? Because sometimes it's like, even from a unified family, of a nuclear family, you find out that the children of the same mother and the same father, not even stepmother, stepfather now, are the ones fighting each other over what daddy left, what is supposed to be accrued to me and all of that. Maybe we should just demystify a bit and break it down, that to what end does it serve us? Yes, at some point I believe that inheritance can be a cushion into this harsh life. Absolutely. Like, oh, if you know that, oh, there's maybe $1 million, $2 million coming from some inheritance, and you know that you can actually build on it. Other than wanting to start from afresh. Sometimes it feels like, did these people bring me into this world to suffer? Why would they have brought me and just left me in the wild? Because we've seen other children enjoy that softness. The people who know. You know, our people would also say the person who waits for inheritance is also waiting for penury. The way Yoruba say. But on this other hand now, if you look at inheritance, that I feel that family discord will continue to play a huge role in inheritance, especially the parents who know that they've seen the pattern of the children. When I leave, there's a possibility of chaos erupting. I know of a friend's uncle who sold everything he had, shared the money amongst his 2 wives and 7 children, and told them that that is the total of what I have, minus this house I live in. And this house, when I die, they will sell it. There's been a will. They will sell it and take the money to how I've shared it. Wow. You understand? So for them it was that, oh, really? It's time to sit tight. Nobody has anything. Now I will trickle it back to my grandfather. A few weeks ago, my mother traveled to her father's inheritance. That's somewhere in Elisha. He has palm trees where they bring palm oil and all of that. And I remember that because my mom, her mother has all girls, 2 of which are late, so they are left with 2. Now the inheritance has been taken over by her uncles, cousins. Some of them have even given some other people. So in my mind, when she was talking to me about it, in my mind, I'm like, did this man even really mean well by leaving this inheritance, this magnitude of expanse of land for just girls who are in turn are married out of that community and are not really coming back? So the inheritance has invariably become somebody else's property. The people that own it are not even enjoying the benefits because you are not there to monitor. I said there were 4. They are left with 2.
It's a choice. One
person is really not. She has health challenge. Now it's left with my mom. That is like most agile. She lives here in Lagos. The property is there in Elisha. Will she leave every other thing and begin to travel to Elisha every other week, year in, year out? But the ones who are there are not managing it as though she would have loved to. That's where the question of if my grandfather had male children.
The headache of inheritance.
The headache of inheritance.
Even the male children, they will come to Lagos.
And some of these inheritance, I knew a man who had a property, expanse of land around this Ajaira, and he said, what I'm building, my children are already warning me that in their own lifetime, this thing will be like dust. So I don't even know what I want to do with myself.
So that is where I want us to go with this issue. And I'll come to you, Nima, this issue of inheritance. Because I remember that when my father-in-law was alive, we used to go to Ikiti. At least, you know, once or two, maybe once every month or once every 2 months. We just drive there to go and see daddy, go and check. Ikiti was very, no, Ikiti and Ife, you know. But since he passed, grandma has moved to Lagos. We don't even go there. And then he owns a house, one in Ikiti, one in, all the children don't live in, except for my husband. They don't live in Nigeria. Nobody has gone there. So, and we now carry inheritance in our head as if, hey, my father's house, my father's this. I'm thinking, so is it still essential? I mean, I'm coming to you, Nima, do you think there should be some kind of a law where once you pass on, you should hand over your properties to the state? Because the kids probably don't even need it anymore. Because it's going to, right now, if you drive into somewhere like Ekiti or Osun State, there are many abandoned houses that have turned to grave sites where the person dies, go and bury him in his house. Grandma dies, go and bury. So the whole house, the whole duplex is a morgue, is a mortuary, is a mausoleum for just one person or 2 people maximum. And where you can, that's real estate that government can use to build schools, hospitals, can actually use. So I'm thinking this thing about carrying inheritance in our head. Maybe we need to start rethinking what inheritance should be. It should be probably name, not so much of properties. It should probably be legacies that can actually, inheritance now, maybe there should be a law that inheritance should be things that benefit the society. That's attached to a family, not necessarily personal properties. I mean, I'm just thinking, Nima, your thoughts?
But you're thinking correct. Kamaka started it perfectly, the way I see inheritance. You know, we are mistaken here to think inheritance has to be material. It has to be the house, the companies, the number of shares they leave. You don't want to leave a stupid-minded person behind the inheritance, which is why you build legacies. If you're living a particular kind of life, religion, standard, you teach your next of kin, let's put it that way, those kids that you're supposed to be, the children of your loins that you want to leave it for, to have the mind to continue it, to believe in it, to own it too, so that it outlives you. There's a prayer that we do that, you know, may they outlive me, may the legacies also outlive me. Those are the inheritance. If you look at in the Quran, they describe I think, is it the Israelites we describe as the children of Jacob? And the children of Abraham are Muslims. We are the children of Abraham.
Ishmael,
Ishmael. So no, but the lineage is from Abraham and the religion and everything. If you see, did Abraham leave one house somewhere you can point to right now? It's the legacy, the rules, the beliefs, the standards,
morals.
Everything, the morals, all the way to prophets. We call the prophets' entire beliefs, Sunnah. We follow its practices. They are tested policies and philosophies that have lived through time. And you are a parent, and all you are thinking of leaving a child with is one property in Edo State. Me, I don't even go there safe. The last time, my mother-in-law is the one who drives through my father's house and says, those your cousins, they've left one corner to fall. You people are not doing well. Mama, if it concerns you so much, maybe you should talk to them. But my grandfather left he was the first to build a story building. Back then, he traded all the way to Calabar and Badagry and saw those story buildings, the type. That was how he started back home. And everybody started to build story buildings like that. The decking was made of Iroko trees, and then they'll put mud. And you know, those days, it was fashion. Grandpa used to be known to come and dry out his money outside. My uncle, that is surviving as eldest now, is a billionaire. He's not drying his money outside, he's drying it in the account. His houses, 10 times over, will bury my grandfather's house. But that house was fought for when Grandpa died. The people who are living there are now calling the people that are outside to come and help them to renovate it. Share inheritance. Are we looking at it properly? But my dad used to talk about my grandfather. When he talks about my grandfather, we get to people who say, I am the son of it, Abima, the great giant and all of that. The legacy. Even when I Shoriki for myself in front of me, I'll say, me, the daughter of Itabima. I'll call my father's name and say, the son of, you know, the legacies, the beliefs, the practices are the things that, you know, forms an individual. And if you look at Mr. Ogabelo, he has created inheritance for all his children. Look at the movies that Femi Adebayo is dropping. If Femi Adebayo had to learn movie production as an adult from a stranger, he will not be as successful. Pardon me if I'm wrong. Personal view. As successful as he is. But he's lived through it. He's lived with a veteran. He's watching. Look at his brothers in different aspects of movie production. They are all acing in their various fields. In this field that their father left, the man should rest. The man should die happy. He left an inheritance, really. But if he was talking about property here, one wife would say I was the one that started with him. The other wife would say the day he was building that place, it was me who was
so let's not discountenance.
I'm coming to why he thinks it should not be left. And if you look at all of them, it doesn't make sense if you're in a polygamous, even if you're in a monogamous relationship with one woman, to be concerned about what you're living. Because the conversations will happen, just as Dami said, the women have gone, somebody else, if that's for a monogamous relationship, for instance, will be left. In Edo, we call inheritance iku, and the singular of it is iku, which is waste. What the dead has used and left behind, and you want to come and fight over it, it's supposed to be his leftover. You want to come and make sense of it.
Leftover that can also serve as a cushion
He
For
can,
some
he
people.
can. Now,
So-
you can do it such that you structure it. If, for instance, that pound fund, there was a pound farm, there was a structure where it's working, the children can inherit a working system of staff, but that they inherited the land.
Okay.
Except they want to be
Yeah,
part of
someone
farmers
jump in.
I want to jump
themselves.
in because I disagree with some of what both of you have said, in the sense that like I said at the beginning, that we need to have a mindset shift because inheritance, we don't need to see inheritance as being static. Inheritance is not static.
It's not.
Inheritance evolves. Why am I saying that? You can own a farmland, or you left a farmland to your kids, right? And it's for you to create generational wealth and legacies, you will have trained or groomed your kids, or at least one of your child, to be able to retain or retain that inheritance, right? So if your child is not interested in farming, for example, you want to believe and trust the fact that this child can take this farmland, sell it, and use it to create another inheritance that they're leaving to another child to build generational wealth. It mustn't be that it is this cup and that this cup will not stay here for the next 100 years. It's also possible. But then you can take this cup, my own generation can take this cup, turn it into a phone. The generation that comes after me can take the phone, turn it into...
But if this cup is in one village that nobody wants to know where it is.
No, but no.
Because, for example, that's what I was saying concerning the houses. Many of these children, because we want our children to grow and to be exposed and do better things. So you'll have a nice cup placed in Osun State in one village somewhere. And the children have now moved to Port Harcourt or from there.
What is your responsibility?
So they don't, because you train, remember you train them for their abroad. Just like she was saying, you train, we are this modern generation, we are training our children for abroad. We're not training our children for Nigeria. We're not raising them to love what our fathers have sweat for. We're training them to go abroad, and so they get exposed, and they're not interested in that thing you put in.
No, but it's your
State.
responsibility as someone that wants to pass your legacy on to ensure that there's a trust that guides against so many things.
You don't bring them now to trust. Now you're upgrading it now.
They say, who legacy help? You know how that, okay, this thing my father worked for, and I have a house in the village. How is it going to help me? For example, there's no market in the village, for example, to try to change that thing to a manufacturing company. There's nothing. So what's the point of my father now sweat 30 years to build this one thing in Osun State that's useless to me? So my question therefore is that, do we need to continue to see inheritance as important? Or what Oga Bello said, that I don't need to leave nothing. Don't leave anything for anybody. Let everybody face their own life.
My auntie and her brothers, in the lifetime of their mom, told their mom that these numbers of lands that you have been buying around Lagos State, because she had built them to the point that they saw what their inheritance was while she was alive. But she also left property, and they said, no, eat your property now that you're alive. Because they were already viable. They already saw it. So I think, personally, you should be more concerned about the minds of the individual as much as you're working. So that they don't end up asking you, if you die, for instance, and leave properties in Osun, maybe if you leave it in Oshogbo, it will make sense. If you leave it in, and the child is interested in farming, because you should be that. Well, Amaka is talking about trust. Trust is that you've created an institution that takes care of the inheritance for them.
Whether they are there or not, or whether they want to be part of it or not.
It's a good thing, so that when they need capital, it doesn't matter. You don't go and create a limiting inheritance. For instance, when you say this house must not leave this family, this land must be used for what I have. You are giving your vision as a limitation to your children to move. But if you create it in an institution and you ask a mutual fund manager to take care of that trust fund on their behalf, that mutual fund manager knows how to hire the managers, the farmers, and everybody who make sure that the palm plantation is working. But see, we're laughing one time.
I have to pause 1 second. Let me go very short. When I come back, we continue this conversation. That means I've not forgotten you. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're discussing inheritance today, and we'd really like to hear from our viewers. Call us on the numbers on your screen and send us messages on X, and also YouTube. We'll be happy to hear your thoughts. Dami was going to jump in here.
Yes, I wanted to jump in on what Amaka said, like when she mentioned training the children, and you also buttressed on the fact that most times now we are training our children to be independent thinkers. Think outside of me. We're raising our children to behave as though, what if I'm not there? And I also believe that if you have inheritance, the physical one that you want to leave for your children, is something that you would have tried to inculcate into them as early as possible. We saw some of our fathers take their children to the office, showed them the books, made them understand, but still did not guarantee that the children will come back and take over it. Because now we have still taught them about independent thinking. And this independent thinking is vast. Some children don't even want to live here. They are just waiting for their parents to pass. The few times that they have here and they are conforming and they seem like, oh, they are good boys and good girls, it's just because their parents are still alive. The moment they pass, it's like, oh, this is a dream for me to do my own thing. Not even talking of inheritance. When I was with one of the banks, one of my boss actually studied medicine because of his mother. And he took that certificate after practicing for 7 years and gave his mother and said, you know what, I've lived your life to an extent. Now I want to go and pursue mine. Now that's not inheritance. So what if it was a certain inheritance that was left for him? He can as well say, you know what, you worked for this all your life. I do not like this. I don't even want to be a part of it. It doesn't mean that I will not continue your legacy. But I might not be able to continue this this inheritance that you are wanting me to be on this line.
I like the way Nima had put it, that you are putting your own vision. You're limiting
your own vision of your children.
I'll come to you, Amaka. Let me take this call from Adewale. Adewale, thanks for calling. You're live.
Huh?
Good morning, sir. Go ahead, please. You're live.
Yeah, this first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, man. I really love the program, actually.
Thank you.
So, concerning the inheritance you guys are discussing, in fact, I have an experience with one of my pastors who have 3 children. 2 of them are out of the country, and the last one is still Nigerian, and the father built new property for him. And the father has not died, though. This guy was saying, why that is doing all these things? I don't need all this property. Why are they building? I said, stop saying all these things. I don't need it. Because very soon I'm planning to relocate. I won't stay in Nigeria. So I first feel like if this property, I was even telling to one of my friends, if this knew that this guy could not be able to maintain these things, he would have got all this money to establish his business or his church. So I would just feel like if these people can just see if they can name the property maybe for children or for different things, so that people can benefit after the person.
Yeah.
That is my contribution, man.
Thank you very much. I think I've shared with you on this table before. It's a very popular school. I'll tell you the name during the break. The owner died. 3 sons are still fighting over that school. And this is a school that I think over 400 or 500 children go to. And because the woman or whoever, the person did not do a proper training of the children to take over, because these children also lived abroad. They don't live in the country. So they are going about pursuing their dreams. She has built a huge school that is serving almost 500 children, families. Their life is there, and then the entire school is on a limbo.
It's just profits making for the children.
The kids are coming, and they want to take it over, either just go home and go and sell it off. I'm like, no, you cannot send these guys home. We need to make sure that this school is sustained. How do we create it? That's what Corona did. They created the Trust Council, so nobody can lay claim that it's my school. A trust is holding on to it. Every you're saying that. In this our inheritance, the thinking that we need to start having in mind is that it's no more, I have this house, I'm handing it over to Amaka, Amaka help me share. No, he said, I'm going to give it to a third party who's going to run it and run it properly, and then the proceeds can then be shared with Amaka.
Everybody.
My grandfather, I have never seen him in my life. He died in 1976. I was born in 1980. I am still receiving money quarterly from the Fuja estate. Every quarter, my brother is the oldest one. He gets the money and he shares it. And what I still get as one of the 4 children, or one, my grandfather had his own. I think he had 4 wives. Then he get inheritance for even his brother's children. So I said from 4 wives who had maybe 7 or 8 children. Now his brother's children. So all of them, they all have access. Now me, I'm under my mother who has like 7 siblings or so. Under her, she has 4 children. I still receive, I can't tell you the figure. I still something substantial.
You showed me that day.
Substantial.
Exactly.
So that's what I'm saying. You don't just say I got this estate, I got this, and I'm handing over to Amaka to. No. You are limiting the potential of that. That's the point I wanted to make.
So he left a vision. He left a vision that he structured such that what he wanted to do was create a vision where that Aromodomomi that will outlive him, that his descendants will never suffer.
Yeah.
He created a structure such that whether the descendants are interested in how the machinery works, they will not suffer through.
Yes.
But people now live, for instance, your fashion style, for instance, you want to leave it for, this is our fashion style, you want to leave it for daughters that we born now. They don't even understand how it's dressed.
So Dima, you find out that you know that at the age when they say bring up a child in the way a child should grow, and child will not depart from it, right? And you grew up in a Muslim home, and you're Muslim because of the upbringing and what you saw, what the values that have been put in you. You grew up a Christian, and you made that decision, not because it's a decision you wanted to make for yourself, really, but because this is what you know, right?
Yes.
So I think what we lack in Africa is we lack schools that I don't know if I should call them finishing schools, but we lack schools for the rich and even the refining and even the middle class that are interested in it, where kids are taught like how to take care of investments, the importance of what your father and your mother that they are doing, because sometimes your kids see you just going to work and everything. They don't know the importance of that thing that you're creating, because you don't know how to translate or explain. And then most times kids are rebellious, like, Mommy, I'm not going to do what you want me to do, or what you're doing. I want to do my own thing. I'm thinking for myself. But if you send your child right from when they are small to a school, just like the royal families and everything around the world, the very rich family, you send your kids to school that teaches them wealth, generational wealth, how to build it, how to maintain, how to curb the taxes, how to reduce taxes, how to and they understand the importance of that thing.
What I'm hearing you say is teach the value, which I love. Yeah. I think we mentioned it yesterday.
Prepare them for the inheritance. That's what she's saying.
Prepare them for the inheritance.
So you have the vision, you are born royal. You want to go and train your child so that the child does not believe in royal standards.
How is that possible?
How is that possible? When the child grows up and you expect the child to just fall into the role, the child will rebel against that role. But if from childhood, they do it in this our Nigeria, some royal families do it. Yeah. They pick that child. There's a special preparation for the entire life of that child.
Let me take this call from Janet. Thanks for calling. You're live.
Disjointed.
Good morning, Janet. Hello. Okay, I think I lost that call.
Okay, I think in referencing to the Bible verse you wanted to mention, it was Proverbs 13:22. A good father leaves an inheritance for his children. At this point, really, I want to just totally agree with values, because some parents are not even raising their children to value their family name. And that's why they begin to drag it up and down. Maybe a bit of we, the Yorubas, you know, the inculcation of, want to be you must retrain yourself. And the name that you have is more even valuable to us in this Western part than, because the next thing when you're going to somewhere is that who is your father? And with your own character, they can almost tell that, is it that they trained you or you refuse to train yourself because we know that your father is a certain kind of person or your mother is a certain kind of person with such principles. So there are a lot of times that we miss it because we don't even allow our children relish and appreciate the name we're first of all living, which is the first legacy. Whose son are you? Whose father are you?
Very interesting.
Who are you going to become? Whoever you're going to become already is precedented on who you have been from your home.
Let me take this call because there's something I don't want to forget. Tokumba, thanks for calling. You're live.
All right. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. From the UK.
I'm Tokumba. I'm calling from the UK.
Welcome to the show.
From the UK.
Right. So concerning the topic, what I would like to say is that inheritance is not limited to properties alone. It doesn't have to do with the physical building. It's anything, you know, that can benefit the children and even your generation to come. So the main issue here is that you need to build the mind of those who will inherit this property. That's what's important.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Tokumbo. Also, there's something I wanted to bring up because we said it in passing, but it was also reinforced yesterday when we were having a conversation. Because we've focused so much on inheritance being money or being physical, material, such that even in our own subconscious, we're constantly thinking of how much did he leave? What estate did he leave? How many cars? How many this? But to think about it in redirecting our thinking, you said it just now that you live close. My mother too left. The clothes my mother left. My mother, I wore it the first 1 year. I was wearing it back to back. But now I'm finished wearing it.
Yeah, the one that is not stylish now. She'll style you. It's you that don't have
There's one that I think I wore it while she was alive. She gave it to me. This woman made this clothes, 10 from India. It was handmade. Those beaded, I wore it. Those beaded ones. 10 colors. This woman chattered it.
Now you know
India.
get style more.
I changed it to my side. Wait. She bought it in the 80s. Wait. Now I finished wearing it. I don't
one out.
So now I can't hand it over to my daughter. I don't even know what it is. But the point I'm trying to make is that let us not focus too much on the material, because what's more important is the name. Because we decided, a lawyer, for example, we might not have a lot of money, but there's a name he left that the government says this man deserves to be honored. But we don't care, because you're thinking about the material and money.
Since you have dropped this Oluloyo twice now, let me answer you.
Answer me.
The first rector of every institution, imagine that we named all the institutions after the first rectors.
He was a former governor.
Impact. You see.
Okay, I get
if they put the first VC of our school,
we cannot debate impact later. Let's leave it.
So tell us about impact.
Let me pack it.
So
let's leave it.
She has been wanting to answer it since
yesterday. Since they carry my belly. So you see this style thing. You, number one, you don't style like Mama. No, Mama, we saw her lifetime. She's a style icon. But you will manage you, because you cannot even remember your own birthday. We used to remind you. So but leave those things, because they are valuable things. For instance, those fabrics that Mora is talking about, I wish you saw them. They are standard fabrics that even Elizabeth's children, if they met it alive, they'll be able to style it anyhow, different styles. So those are mothers that had bottom box folded. They know. They did not buy fabrics that when you come back, the fabric goes shop. There are fabrics that a young girl, damask is raining again. Who they wear? We didn't wear damask for our wedding. But now we say everybody do agbada damask. Ashoke now, Ashoke jeans, Ashoke. I wish I can touch Auntie Bimbo's damask that she got from grandmother. That damask, if I make trouser from it, this what they call this baggy trousers, and for the stay fashion up and down, because these fabrics are the original fabrics are scarce. So there are ways, and your children will genetically inherit style. Since you know we get, I be like tomboy.
Please, let me pause
style
you.
from
I'm the
grandma.
MC of this show. Irene, thanks for calling you live. Go ahead, please.
We'll style it too.
Irene.
I'm still waiting.
We are live now. Don't wait again. We are here. Go ahead, please.
Sorry.
Irene.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. Listen to me directly. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Very clearly. Go ahead.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay, good morning, Mariah and on the crew.
Good morning.
This program is really an eye-opener, and there is an issue too. I'm like part of it, because when my father died, my father built house in our village. You understand?
Okay.
Because everybody he has, we are all women and we are all married. Right now, the house is just there in the village, taken by the elder brother. You understand?
Yes.
So leaving an inheritance for children, I don't really understand, because sometimes it's not even the children that are in charge of it. It's people that don't even know how the person sweated for it, that are eating it up. Right now, we are all women, we are all married, we are in our different places, we don't even go to the village anymore. You understand? So legacy is not, the inheritance is not only by properties. It might be what your father leaves, the something he buys in you. You understand? Like my father now, anywhere I enter, his name opened doors for me. You understand? When you hear you are from so family, is this so person your father? That alone makes me happy. Because of the kind of person my father is.
Thank you very much, Irene. So that's what I want us to leave this show with. The fact that, because my mother-in-law too had that issue. She was from a royal family. They had large expanse of cocoa farm. Today, she's just like, doesn't know who is that, who's doing nothing. These are things that the family owns. So that's why you need a third party to run the business, because that's one of the issues we had in Africa. We keep doing as if because of inheritance, legacy is our father, is our own, we hoard it, and you're hoarding it and nothing is happening. Society is not benefiting from it.
I will forever be against this colonial interruption we had, because our system of African inheritance is such that it will run. But wicked brother story that somebody now told us, that your wicked uncle takes it over. So there's a reason why it was the men who took it over, such that if the name is Damilola Banire instead, there will be a Banire on that property. That Banire who takes it over was not supposed to, traditionally, because I know in my custom, that if he was a mismanager of that asset, such that he disinherited the original investors' children, those investors, they just need to, in Edo, you go to their limit, they go to the grave site and report to the ancestors. We believe in ancestors. And you will see his life. It's like they will do a coup d'etat from the above to remove him. Somebody else will come. That person is supposed to manage it such that it's like a continuous endowment. But we have now we have now read law, we have gone to the abroad, we have copied the abroad system, and there's a clash of culture. You will see people be saying, I don't know, because
it's outdated.
Do you know how old it is?
Let me tell you why it's been improved. I will tell you why it's outdated. Let me come to Dami.
What I think is happening in this place is that if you have a trust fund to manage, isn't it better? Yes, it is better. Yeah. But in the event that it is the children of the owner of the property that are fighting each other. So are you saying that the person left the property to create further chaos in a place where they cannot manage themselves? Then now manage property, because if you cannot manage yourselves, then how well do you manage properties?
So after everything we've said here, we need to understand something. There's somebody that has worked hard and left and built legacies or inheritance that they want to pass over to somebody, right? So the sole responsibility of how that inheritance is passed is on that individual
who is living
it. So if you decide, because in Africa it's so funny how nobody wants to write a will. Nobody wants to have that conversation because they just feel like, oh, so you want me to die? You want to take my property? But we need to be intentional about everything that we do. You do not take all your time, energy,
but people
and build wealth. And build wealth without actually taking over the responsibility of putting structures in place, legal structures that manage that property. You cannot create a trust without it being in a legal manner. So whatever you do, whatever inheritance you want to leave, you have the responsibility to discuss that thing called, how am I going to pass my will, trust, how do I want to pass this inheritance?
I disagree with you, but wait, let me take this caller. I think I have a caller. Good morning, thanks for calling.
Good morning, Morayo.
Go ahead, you're live.
Today I want to write.
I'm a first caller.
Okay. First time caller.
My name is Abiodun.
Pen and paper.
Okay.
Paper, just paper.
Are you listening to me?
Yes, we are here. Go ahead, sir. We are hearing you, Mr. Abiodun.
I'm very, very happy for what you people have been doing every morning. So I'm a first caller.
Okay.
So you people are discussing about a sensitive issue.
I know that voice.
You people didn't look in a two-way.
Okay.
Inheritance. One, you should look it in facets of maybe extended family. Then nuclear family. If it is nuclear family, inheritance, there must not be problem. But when it is polygamous family, then the father should not, even both polygamous and a nuclear family, the parents, I mean the father, must not allow the children to know about what we call inheritance. It should allow them to grow up. It should not disclose it with them, because some of children of nowadays, they didn't want to work. They believe on what their parents have done is enough for them to live. So if they hide it from them and look for management consultant in future, in the will that will manage those things for them and will be share it amicably for them, that one will be better.
Thank you.
And maybe this one hate this one when they are sharing this, and the father must make sure he have give the management, maybe the way as a consultant. This how you share. This how you share the proceeds you make in my inheritance for my children.
Right.
50-50. Nothing like say this last one, you should take this. This one is the second one, you should take this. If all these things are be done in the right way, I think inheritance.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abiodun.
It's very, very good.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
See, inheritance for me is like the raising kids. When you are raising your kids, you are instilling the discipline. My mom used to say, don't forget to pray that the discipline enter. When you are leaving a will, don't forget you're just stating your intentions as regards the properties you have left behind. It is not you. Abi your spirits go come and execute it. It's someone else who will do it. At this point, you need grace. You know, my friend, we got briefed last year to review a 20-year-old estate. The kids are all alive. No, not all of them. A few are dead. And one of the executors, who was the best friend of if you see this detail of this will, is 20 years old will. I bow for the testator. Very visionary man. And he wanted that all his children would continue, just as your grandfather's estate, to enjoy this estate, that they will continue to enjoy this estate. Now, estate that can make over 20 million annually is causing problem through executors. The 2 executors are biological survivors of the man. And we are discussing how all the children are confused. We are moving to court now. I'm advising, because I first of all cried when I finished with that will and told them this is not the intention of this man. He did not think that this property is so structured to feed his children will be what will be dividing them, and we'll be at this meeting talking about a division. But you see something, he did not live to do it with his own hands. When he was alive, there was unity. Each of those children catered for. They are like Abiola's children. Each of them, he knew his children, each of them catered for. Now, he has died. It is the grace of God that will ensure that his intention is carried out.
You see,
if you put a trust,
this is where I come.
Banks are making money off of this kind of estates.
Yeah.
They are keeping quiet over the money dropping from your trust fund, from your shares. Banks are making money. See, CBN have work, full day work to do.
This thing you have said is the reason why I disagree with a lot of things that have been said. And I have a proposition. And the proposition is that I think it is too heavy, it is too important to allow something that has the potential to benefit a whole society to be based on somebody's discretion or decision or his wish on his dying bed. I think where we are as a society, as a country, because I always like to look at the bigger picture, the greater good. As a Nigeria where we are today, if I own a property and I know that this property can be beneficial, there should be a law that will compel me to ensure that this property, when I finally die, my administrators or whoever is going to execute execute the property will ensure that this property is beneficial to the greater two people. The proceeds can be shared with my children as beneficiaries of me, but I shouldn't be the one to say I want it to be used for supermarkets. I want to use for
If it's supermarket, it's
not. You see, it is too important for us to execute your thoughts because it is too limited. That's why somebody can say, Daddy wanted to do this, Mommy wanted to do this.
Daddy was professional, Daddy was tired, he told me this, he told you that.
What we are saying, what is this? What's the maximum use of this property for the Nigerian people? Because there are some countries that no matter what property you buy, after a certain amount of years, it hands over to the government.
Even in Nigeria,
they will take it from you.
Even in Nigeria,
sometimes some countries is 50 years or 100 they will take it right back.
Yes.
So why are we keep putting so much burden on the owner? Who gave you the audacity to tell me, make use it for a supermarket? No, that place cannot have a supermarket because it's a residential area. We use it for something like going to build houses for people, and then the proceeds can come to your children. So I am proposing. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying to think about the bigger picture. Everybody saying my own wish, my own wish, my own wish. I'm sorry,
everybody has a wish.
I'm not going to execute your wish based on who you are because you're making your wish based on your own selfish
interest at that point.
At that point.
Yeah.
It's a proposition. But go ahead, Dami.
I think I also agree with Moriah because if we look at it, some of these our parents sometimes they don't also there is preferential treatment. You want this to go for this person and that to go for that person. Like Nima said, you are not going to be there when the fight starts. It's only your spirit that will be saying that I've caused trouble. And at that very point, siblings lose their lives just because of inheritance. If they don't go physical, they go spiritual. And we've seen this happen too many times. So yes, if we say the person who owns the property, I would even accept that if you feel that you know that after you pass, chaos will erupt, sell it off. Give them what is accrued to them in your lifetime. Let them go and do whatever with their proceed. They already know that, Daddy has settled all of us. That's the language, settlement. Yes. But instead of you waiting for inheritance, that will probably cause a bigger divide than even the way you try to mop up money to start that.
So the reason for this conversation is not to change things, but just to give people start thinking.
But you know, this insight, many years back, we did used to talk about having a will. But now we've seen that the moment you begin to have one or two things, please put a will, no matter your age. But it doesn't mean that we are praying.
Even if you must have
what do I have yet that needs a will? That's where we start from. All these ones, I will give them out in my lifetime. I've also planned that there are a lot of things that because I have two boys and as of now, I do not intend having more kids as of now. But if at all, I'm already looking at them. What is this one good at? What can I live for this one? What can I do for this one? What do they want? Sometimes parents don't even ask their children what they want.
Children
and how they want to.
Children cannot know what they want.
No. I'm not saying children like as toddlers. Maybe as teenagers, as youths. Like, what do you want? What do you really want to invest your money in?
Wait. Let me have. I think I have a Maka building. You want to say something?
Okay, yes. I'm just trying to say, like, what you're proposing is socialism, and that's if we're working in a democratic setting, that will not fly because you can't take away people's rights from someone that's someone that's worked and told, and then the government now tells me what to do with my property. It's not going to work. So that can't fly. But it's just about everybody taking and owning responsibility for your actions, or you know, preempting what you think might happen or might not happen. That's just what you can do.
So if you must leave a will, create an hierarchy. If you have plenty kids in monogamous settings too, create an hierarchy. That's why you see royal family always say the first son, the second son. In the absence of this person comes in, taking care of any lacuna. And if the absence of all the sons, it goes to the daughters or the first sons of the daughters. Create an hierarchy, a situation. But then let the people have the vision to know that this role is generational. This estate is generational, so that they, as they are growing, they are buying into the vision. Because if they lose the vision at some point, the whole thing just crumbles.
Okay, I think that's all we can take. We can wrap up on that. But really,
now God Almighty should help us to
empires crumble.
In a nutshell,
empires crumble.
Inheritance and importance. Based on what Okabedo has said, it's not leaving inheritance. But I think I like what Amaka said earlier. It's depending on how you define it. Inheritance can be material and can also be your legacy. It can be things where it's a pride that, okay, this thing belongs to our family and our family has been doing this for years. We see so many legacy companies across the world. You can't point to the owner of Coca-Cola, but today we are still seeing the proceeds. So the point is that we need to start building inheritance beyond our personal selves, but more of the name and something that can be more beneficial to more people. That's all we can take on today's show. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.